it was it was I the child. He was probably about 5 years old. He was super excited, super excited. You could tell this kid's been sugared up tonight, and bouncing off the walls. And you can kind of hear the mom in the background of, "Oh, you got through, you got through." And so so when I was asking, "Well, where in Australia are you at?" "Oh, I'm in Sydney," and I was like, "Okay, well, look, I'm going to bring up the data right now." And then and let him know. It was like, okay, well, he's only about 45 minutes out.
So what do you use to track Santa? List of questions I've been given.
Sure, yeah. Well, and everything that we use is exactly what we use every day of the year to keep North America safe. And so we use three different types of platforms. So we have our satellites, which are for our early detection systems. We have our radar network of radar systems. So maybe you've seen in popular culture movies things about the radar tracking stations around Alaska and around Canada. And then, of course, we have our interceptor aircraft as well. And so, like I said, based on the data that we've got over the several years, once we pick up a heat detection coming out of the North Pole area, that is Rudolph's red nose. So the heat that Rudolph generates from his red nose is enough to allow our tracking satellites overhead that are in geosynchronous orbits to lock onto it and give us an accurate pinpoint precision of where that heat signature is coming from. And based on that data, we generally see that Santa will depart and go along the international date line and just start making his way west. And so, the first kind of populated areas, kind of like New Year's, same thing, we generally see him come across New Zealand and Australia first, and then start bouncing his way up through Indonesia area and into Asia. But he never, based on what we've got, he never uses the same track twice. It's always changed up. But generally speaking, you've got to go from, point A to point B around the planet. So, but that's how it starts. So.
Interesting.
And then, and I was going to say, as he gets closer to North America and makes his way around, that's when our interceptor aircraft can launch, and a lot of those are normally CF-18s. Those are Canadian F-18 Hornets, and our F-22s up in Alaska, our Raptor stealth fighters, have the ability to launch. And we've even gotten a couple reports over the years of pilots who've come across Santa, and in the traditional aviation fashion, they will they'll wave their wing as a sign of respect, saying hi to Santa, and Santa does the same, and he zooms right off again. He's a busy guy; he's got a lot to do that day. So,
so this has been going on for like 67 years. Is that right? Is that what
67 years? Yeah, that is. So 1955 is when all this started. Kind of give you a little bit of the history if you don't.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
Give me a moment. 1955. The story goes that at the time Sears Roebuck, which I remember as a kid getting the thick Christmas catalog from Sears. So
the Amazon of 1955, right?
Yeah, exactly. And they were putting out advertisements, and they had misprinted the number for the call to talk to Santa, and that number just happened to be misprinted to what was called CONAD, and that was the Continental North American Defense Command at the time, and it went directly to the Ops Center, and that's normally the place that you get the call of, hey, we're tracking bombers inbound, we're tracking potential intercontinental ballistic missiles launching. So you get this call, and it was to a gentleman named Colonel Shoup, and Colonel Shoup. I've been told a couple different translations of his name, and first he thinks it's a prank, someone's pranking us, right? But then come to find out, no, this kid is on, he's calling, wants to talk to Santa, and so he played right along. And then after that, he hung up, and pretty much from what I've been told, because as even though that we have history. Some of this has become lore over time, but
Mhm.
that pretty much told everyone on the operations floor, listen, if you get a call, play along. And that was the beginning of NORAD Track Santa. And so since then, and then several years later, after NORAD stood up and assumed the mission of CONAD, this it has been maintained ever since, and the tradition lives on. Yeah, so on noradsanta.org. So Alex is talking about the village, and so when you go to the homepage, right, when you go to the site, there's a little village, right, and there's some different things you can click on. We've got the arcade, so I was just talking about the games that are on there.
Oh, there we go. That's the thing.
So, so as you can see, you've got in the top next to where the actual pole, the North Pole, is there. That's the arcade. It says "One Up" outside. Right down below that, you also have the theater. So you'll see where it says "Now Playing." So that'll take you to our YouTube page. You can see the different videos that we've got out there. On the left is our gift shop. So if you want to grab your NORAD Track Santa swag for the year, then head on over there. Our partners at Shirt Stop provide that support. Then you go over to the right a little bit, and you're going to come across the music stage. So we've actually, and it's funny, I have, like, when I'm working throughout the day, managing different things, I will have that music playing in the background. And it's a really, really great compilation of both, traditional music and sometimes some newer age stuff. So you can always just click on that play button there on the main page at the bottom, and it will just shuffle through. But you can always click on the music, and you can go and find exactly what you prefer. Then there's the library. So there's so many different traditions with the holiday season, with Christmas, or with Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, all kinds of different ways that people celebrate the holidays this time of year across the world. So the library kind of gives you a good sense of what's going on out there without having to Wikipedia every little thing that might be out there. So we've kind of put that together. Then of course you can see NORAD headquarters. So we've got our little history of the program page there, and then how we track Santa. And so you folks can always just click on that building. You've got the little radar dish on top, and then you can kind of check out all the historical background and see our sponsors. So,
all right, Insomnia asks, how many phone operators do you have?
Sure. So I think right this year we are sitting right at about 1,000. And so, like I said, we have about 45 that fill different time slots on the hour, every hour. But then we also have a virtual option that's kind of a holdover from our during COVID, when COVID came about, to allow for virtual Santa operators. So they're able to get the data coming into them, but then they can receive calls from around the world right at their phone at home, just through their computer, voice over internet kind of stuff. And we still have the virtual option just for folks assigned to NORAD, because like I said, even though you're assigned to NORAD, it doesn't mean you're in Colorado Springs that night. We've got folks who are involved in missions all across not only the United States but Canada as well. And some of our folks that are at the assignments in Canada and in Alaska, they want to take part in it too. And so we want to, that's the beautiful thing about technology, is it gives folks that are in our command that may not be geographically located the opportunity to also take part in the program. So that's why, if you're doing some public math or some scratch paper at home, and 45 per slot, that's why it's more than just that number, because we have some of the virtual options for our personnel too.
All right, another question from Insomnia. Is it all volunteer or paid? Talk about a dream job.
No, that is a very good question. This is strictly all volunteer. We don't pull any personnel off of out of the tracking centers and that are providing overwatch for North America. This is folks that they volunteer their time to sign up. And you got to remember, this year it's Saturday. It's the 24th. It's the day before Christmas. Why would you want to go work when you can be with your family? But no, that's how much people love taking part in this. And so we never have a problem getting volunteer signups, just because that's just how many people are just in love with doing the program.
Accessibility. I mean, how do you make the tracker more accessible to make sure that everyone, including people with handicaps and terrible vision, everything else, that everyone can get in on this experience?
Sure. Well, and so you go from some basic things like 508c compliance for the website, but anywhere to like having the ability to have the information come through Amazon Alexa. You're able to, if you can't, if you, like you said, if you have some visual impairments, you can still get that information through those different conduits. And we also have the website will come out in 8 different languages. And
nice.
if you ask me those, I'm going to bring up the information because I don't have them memorized. But those we have it in. We have it in Chinese. Obviously, it is in English. But got that right here.
Surely Spanish.
Yep, there it is. Yep, it comes in English, French, German, Italian, Japanese, Portuguese, and Spanish. And if we hopefully we are working to already have it available in Hangul. So for our Korean audience to review it, hopefully next year. That's something that's in the works. We constantly talk about making the information as accessible as possible. We're always trying to go, hey, what about this audience? What about this audience? But obviously working with our partners, and this is all volunteer, they provide it all at no cost. So you got to balance that. Well, here's what we want to do, but here are the resources available to us to do what we can do. So we're hoping that we'll be able to make that happen next year. But again, if you can't be at a desktop, you've got your mobile device. Are you an American without a mobile phone at this point, right? Kind of thing. But I feel like most of us have it attached to the hip. So you're able to do it that way. Like I mentioned before, you got OnStar kind of stuff. So that I know that's a very, very small segment of folks. But we're constantly looking at ways to make it as accessible as possible. But at the very end of the day, the core element of the program is going to be the telephone. So you can always, even if you pick up your phone, whether you've got Google or iPhone or something like that, but hey, call this number, right? And then it'll take you right to us. So
thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon to be notified when we post more tech talks, interviews, and tutorials.